Crypto.com, Crowcoin holders. We got a video for you guys. Today we're going to be talking about Crowcoin and the unburning that has just begun. 70 billion new coins added to the supply to a total of 100 billion Crow coins. We're going to be talking about that. Welcome back to the Crypto Report. I'm Blacksea. Hit that like button, hit that bell, subscribe to the channel. Let's hop in this video. All right, guys. So, starting off on crypto Twitter, follow me at 233Blacksea. I say, day one of asking Crypto.com to burn 70 billion Crow coins and be fully decentralized mainnet. Obviously, that's probably not going to happen. I'm joking around, but smash the like button if you think that that could maybe fix the overall sentiment on Crowcoin. This is probably most likely not going to happen, but, you know, it's just interesting because this was what they posted. This is what they posted when they originally burned the 70 billion. They said, the largest token burn in history begins today. 70 billion Crow, prepare for a fully decentralized mainnet. It's not so decentralized now, is it? But that's besides the point now. So we have 70 billion coins added to the supply. What comes next? What are the positives with that? What are the positives of that? I think there's a few positives. I think there are positives. Obviously, the cons are large because of the dilution of the supply, and it's not decentralized at all anymore. But I do think that there are positives for this. There's a huge influx of money now for Crypto.com and Cronos Labs to spend this money, to spend this on whatever they deem fit. You know, if it's marketing, maybe that's what we need. Is it you need to pay a certain fee for all the filing of the ETF applications? Sure. Regardless, they now have more funding. Maybe they'll be able to bring more builders to the chain. There's a lot of positives when you start to look into this. Obviously, number one, I would rather they get rid of the 70 billion coins. That'd be pretty funny if they burned the coins, unburned them, then burned them again. But hey, I wouldn't be laughing. I would be saying, yes, thank you, listening to the community. But I doubt it will happen. But I am still bullish. I say any Crowcoin bulls in the chat, I am still bullish. I am. Am I as bullish as I was when they announced that they were going to be, when they announced the 2025 roadmap, Crypto.com and Cronos Labs, where they talked about how they were going to be implementing the quarterly burns and how they were listening to the community? I was very, very bullish when that happened. Very, very bullish. After 129 days of basically just asking from the community got together. We did it together. The Crow fam came together, and I was posting, asking, hey, can we see a quarterly burn like what Binance does with their BNB coin? Binance just burned $900 million worth of their BNB coin, okay? BNB holders and investors are happy. After 129 days of asking, we got the roadmap that they said that they are going to be implementing quarterly burns on Cronos, Crowcoin. I was very, very bullish. Very, very bullish. I'm not as bullish now as I was then, obviously, but I still think there are positives, like I said. Looking at Crowcoin right now, we are flirting with a 0.0830 cent level. This is a very important level, this yellow line. Does look like we're trying to bottom. I think the market sentiment of the entire crypto space is starting to shift a little bit here. I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse. We're going to take a look at some things later on in this video that were indicating potential things that we should be looking out for. But as of right now, looking at Crowcoin in a vacuum, you can see that money flow right here. Let me open this, make this bigger for you guys. Money flow right here is starting to curve up pretty significantly. The red money flow, this is basically on Market Cipher indicating that more money is coming out of this asset than going in. When you see it green like this, more money is moving into the asset than coming out. And right now, it does look like, I need to delete that green little dot. All I'm saying, though, is that it does look like we are starting to bottom out here, you know, seeing the money flow start to cut back. I like to see that. That doesn't mean that we're immediately going to start bottoming and that there's obviously invalidations, but looking at Crowcoin in a vacuum, we're starting to see some lines of hope, And, you know, if you look at this as well, this trend line like that, we are holding up in that. And I do want to say if we break below 0.0830, I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think we're going straight down to 0.0689, but that would be an okay area to test. 0.0689 is a extremely strong support level. I don't really see that playing out, but I could see if Bitcoin starts to take a tumble here, we could come down there. We could test it, but I really would be looking at first about 0.075, like 7.5 cents. That's a more of appropriate level to be keeping your eye out for before we are even talking about 0.0689. So Cronos is sitting at rank 38, down 3.75% in the past 7 days. Really, we're having a low volume, boring holiday weekend price action, guys. It's a long weekend. People are not trading that much, and you're seeing it play out in the not only in the stock market, you see it play out in the crypto space right now as well. But we are starting to see, like, look at this. I want to show you guys fear and greed. Like, fear and greed is back to 32. Pretty fascinating. Oh, this is new. Altcoin season. That's pretty interesting. But fear and greed is at 32. I believe at our lowest we came to like a 6. Pretty incredible. I was buying Bitcoin around, or when that was happening, but really I was buying equities because massive drawdown. We're going to talk about equities at the end of this video because we need to be paying attention to that. If you are a Crocoin bull, if you want to be making trades on Crocoin, you need to be paying attention to the traditional market right now, because it really is setting us up to be giving us a clear idea of where Bitcoin is headed, and wherever Bitcoin goes, you guys know the alts, Crocoin is going to go with it to a certain degree. We're sitting at a $2.21 billion market cap. I thought something was interesting as well. I was mousing over this because I was curious to see if the circulating supply changed at all since the unburn has begun. It hasn't. It's self-reported, so I'm not really sure. Their self-reported supply is 97 billion. But, the max supply is 100 billion. But they do say their fully diluted value is 8.32 billion. It's a $2.21 billion market cap. Okay, that's what's in there, all right? Like, I just think it's interesting looking at all this and really starting to pick this apart as there's new coins getting added to the supply. And there is a vesting period. The question is, when does that vesting period really begin? Don't really have clarity on that, guys. I think that when it does begin, it's 1.2 billion coins will be released month over month over month. But I'm not quite sure when that's going to happen. And to be quite frank, I doubt we're going to see it change on the circulating supplies unless we probably look at like Dex Screener. Maybe we could figure that out. But for now, I want to be patiently looking at this and seeing how this plays out over the next couple months. But guys, I do expect there to be volatility in this market based on what's happening with Bitcoin. Crocoin looks like it wants to bottom out, but if Bitcoin Bitcoin looks bullish, all right? Bitcoin looks bullish. If you look at Bitcoin, we're starting to make our first line of hope at a bullish reversal, and I do expect volatility. The volume is getting pinched here across the board on all altcoins and Bitcoin, and I do expect volatility. If you guys do want to take advantage of that, check out in the description box below or pin comment down below. Sign up to Blowfin. You get a $5,000 sign-in bonus. All you got to do is deposit, trade. We got to sign up, deposit, trade, and you get a bunch of free money. You just got to follow their different, if you deposit $100, they have different rewards. There's lots of things you can take advantage of, guys. Take advantage of this free money, especially in the times like this, because you get a little bit of extra money to buy that dip. And I think that a lot of the dip buyers right now are probably going to get rewarded as long as the traditional market plays nice here, all right? So Bitcoin, like I said, is making its way at a potential reversal, all right? I think that we'll probably see a drawdown a little bit lower. I think that we come and test 77K. I don't want to see anything lower than that. If we start to see something lower than that, then that probably means that the S&P 500 has continued to draw down here. And I do have a target back at 5,000. I think that's an appropriate level to be looking at, seeing something like that play out. But let's not say it's so tough right now because it really comes down to the narratives right now about these tariffs and the Federal Reserve. And guys, unless you're in that Telegram group chat with all the people that are dealing with the tariff negotiations, you're just not going to be able to predict these markets as well as you would reverse probably like 8 months ago, okay? It's just a very, very different time right now. The tariffs will go away. They will go away, and this market will digest this, but In the short term, we have to be very, very cautious. But looking at technicals alone, I would expect probably a test down a little bit lower here, maybe come and test 5,000 again. But if we see something like that play out and we don't like V-shape out of this, we may be going into a recessionary period, guys. And if that happens, you're going to see Bitcoin break down. You're going to see Bitcoin come and test 73K and probably put a newer low in, probably break below that if we go into a recessionary period. And you're going to see Crocoin as well take a beating. It's as simple as that. But I've been saying over the past week or so, I've been realizing and thinking that, you know, guys, a lot of the sellers are pretty exhausted. And I know, like, famous last words, but guys, like, the market, the fear got to like an 8 or a 6, and now we're back at 31. The volume is low. Like, it seems like we are getting ready to see a little bit of relief here, as long as the S&P 500 doesn't drop. If it drops, then, hey, I'm going to say, all right, guys, well, we're going to the no man's land that we do not want to be breaking below is the 5,000. We wicked below it. That's okay. We just don't want to see any closures below it. If we see closures below 5,000, that's a bloodbath. Like, that is going to put us into a very not favorable situation or environment for risk on assets, being Crocoin, being Bitcoin, being meme coins, all of crypto, basically. All right, guys. So I just want to give you guys my thoughts on the entire market with Crocoin, crypto.com, Bitcoin, the traditional market, all these tariffs, on how it's going to affect this market and how it's going to affect the price of Crocoin. And if you guys like this type of content, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel right now, hit that bell. That's all I got. I'll see you next one. Bye-bye.